So last week I asked you guys about, what do you think? What do you believe keeps you from waking up, following your schedule, staying disciplined, staying focused, and prospecting every day? You guys had a bunch of different answers, which I think all can be the truth. However, I'm going to give you another thought around mindset. And if you haven't watched the mindset training in the online portal, please go do that tonight. And I'm going to share with you something about tonight right now about mindset that I think will really help you guys hopefully have a breakthrough. And that is this. You see, there's two things going on as you start to look to grow your real estate business. And the one thought that I think about all the time as I think about that one question, why a real estate agent does not prospect consistently, comes down to, I believe it's because the pain of change is greater than the pain of staying the same. I'm going to say that again. The pain of changing their behavior, changing what they do, the pain of changing is more intense. That pain is greater than changing their current lifestyle. And until those two things are the opposite, you will not change. Period. End of story. You just will not do the work. Because every time you go to pick up that phone and you start to prospect, and life is good or life is good enough, you start to have the drunk monkey telling you, why in the world are you don't have to do this. You don't have to go through this pain. Life is fine. We've got money in the bank. You've got a nice car. We live in a nice house. We don't need to go through the pain of rejection. We don't have to go through the pain of, increasing our skill set. We don't have to do any of that. So until those two things are flip-flopped, you won't change. So let me give you an example. For me, growing up, a lot of you know my story. Growing up in a very, very wealthy community with nothing put me in a position to say, I'm not going to live like that. I'm not going to live that way. When my friends came through my house growing up, my mom did the best that she could. But coming to my house, we lived in a little tiny condo in the middle of downtown Rochester, where my friends had 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot houses. They had freaking mansions. They drove brand new Ferraris and Escalades as juniors and seniors in high school. I had no car. I walked around everywhere. And so when I think about that, I said, I'm not going to live that way. I said, my life's going to be different. Now, when my friends walk through my house today as an adult, it's the exact opposite. I want them to feel so uncomfortable because of the size of my house that I want them to feel uncomfortable. That because that pain of living that way was so intense. Listen to me, you guys. That pain was so intense that changing was a lot less painful. So for me, prospecting, picking up the phone, which causes you guys a lot of pain, for me, the pain of living the way that I did when I grew up was more painful than the change. You see how that works? And until the same thing happens for you, you cannot change your behavior. This is at the root of all human behavior. And if you want to change the human behavior, if you're fat and you want to get in shape, you have to go through this. If you're broke and you want money, you have to go through this. I'll give a shout out to Joe Bennett. Joe Bennett got very vulnerable and shared his credit card statements with us, right? And so he exposed himself. And so for him, he made massive changes. He went from making 5 contacts a day to 35 contacts a day because the pain of staying the same, was greater than the pain of change. And so he's decided to change. And you have to do that same thing. So the question is, how do you mimic this world if you want to change your current circumstances? You have to expose you have to expose your current circumstances. If you want to change your current circumstances, you have to expose it. Okay, so here's what I mean. If you don't like the amount of money you make and you're not happy with your current financial situation, maybe you need to share with the world that you're in a bad financial situation. Now you might be saying, Brandon, I'm not going to do that. Well, you won't change it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't care if you like the guy, you don't like the guy, he walked around with a half-cut shirt showing his fat belly for years because that was the only way he could put himself in enough pain to change his behavior. So that's what motivated him to be the best bodybuilder in the world. And so I'm suggesting that you do the same thing. I certainly went through it growing up. Friends had to come over my house all the time. They saw the way I lived. Well, that was enough pain for me to change my future. You've got to do the same thing. My current mentor, Darren Hardy, talks about it all the time. Yeah, get mad. Put it on the fridge. If you have to put a picture of, you in your underwear and you don't like the way you look, put it on the fridge for everybody to see it. You don't like the amount of income you make, put a copy of your bank statement or your credit card debt out there as a Facebook post instead of, you smiling, saying to the world how great life is. You need to go through some pain if you're going to change anything. So think about those things. If you really want to start building consistency in your business, start to think about what things do I need to expose about my current circumstances that I say I don't like. And until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, you'll never change.